Clock in the jail, they tryna get me with the pat down. Hold on, what the fuck am I doing? I should be out living my dreams. I can't be fooling with these fiends. Type of nigga to get it by any means. Nah, I mean, I ain't tryna get noticed. See, all I know is being me. You know I'm ready and focused. I got these goals I'm finna reach. Anytime I'm speaking to people around me saying, preach God, I'm like, yes, Lord. I had to face the opposition, but a nigga pressed on. That's how you get stepped on. Looking at this set floor, now they can't compare. Mind always in the air. Sorry if I get a little distant. I ain't gonna wear shorty. I be listening. Star body, I be floating around. Listen, got the vision with precision. I'ma hit it like a pretty imagination. Got me in rotation, make a billion. Yeah, I'm all about the pie like Sicilian. This is really get disguised. I'm an alien. Out of space, fuck the state I'm in. I had to build a home away from home. Who let the neighbors in? Fuck it, I ain't rushing, but I gotta pick the motion up. I ain't finna be anywhere saying I ain't digging up. Build a mind state, gold place for the family. That's the type of man I be moving towards my destiny. I'm on my way. Through the whole mirrors, now I'm face to face with myself. Bustin' left, fuck what they say. I know this the right way for me. I be looking at the future that these niggas can't see. Walking through the whole mirrors, now I'm face to face with myself. Bustin' left, fuck what they say. I know this the right way for me. I be looking at the future that these niggas can't see. When I ain't know what to do, I just had a vision. I did addition cause I felt like there was something missing. I was tripping on my own feet, moving with uncertainty. Suddenly occurred to me that this is what it really mean to walk a different path. I ain't need no example, had to come up with it fast. Represented like a flag, this my energy signature. Let the manager be major like Ye before he turned into minister. On these beats I be so sinister, slaying demons, we ending the narrative. This is charity, the love I be carrying got me high, get arrogant, flying, but I ain't arrogant. In the past life I flew right to the sun, couldn't tell you what it was. Maybe just curiosity, building philosophy off the journey. I'm learning as it be turning, as the world burning. I just be inside myself for the reason to keep on breathing. I know it's not gonna get easy, but 6 in the morning, I get to busting me a pack down. Clock in the jail, they tryna get me with the pack down. What the fuck am I doing? I should be out living my dreams. I can't be fooling with these fiends. Type of nigga that get it by any means, nah, I mean. Shout out to Famous Milo in the building. What up? It's your boy Dave B. You watching Dave Beyond TV, where we go beyond that everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. And today we talking a little bit about Mercury going so it's currently retrograde, but it's finna go direct at the end of the week on the 28th, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So that's about, I think that's straight up 7 days, you know what I'm saying? So this is just kind of how we should be looking to prepare for that transition back when it goes direct, and the kind of final lessons we might need to wrap up before we jump fully into this new energy that we need to be in, which, you know, again, we know that everything is moving towards Virgo. So we finna have a Virgo stellium with Venus there. The sun is making its way there. I believe it's like 29 degrees. I think this is like the last day officially of Leo season. So, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the Leos. And, you know, we about to start saying, you know, happy star day to all the Virgos. You know, shout out to y'all, sun, moon, ascendants alike. And if y'all got Mercury there too, because that's like y'all home planet, or really, I like to look at Mercury being exalted in Virgo, you know what I'm saying? So it gets an extra boost. And see, with the Mercury going direct again and moving back into Virgo, you know, what is that actually going to entail? So the main thing we got to keep in mind is right now, right? It's currently in Leo, but it's retrograde. We're trying to tie up loose ends when it comes to ways that we used to express ourselves and what was comfortable at one point, and trying to readjust that to actually make sure that what we're doing is in alignment, you know. And right now we might have a little difficulty mentally with focus, with concentration, you know what I'm saying? Right now is like, it's real tough to be focused on something, especially something you're trying to build or, you know, expand on in some kind of way, because not only the planet of expansion being Jupiter is in Gemini, that's creating a square. So, you know, it's a little complicated, but, you know, it's currently in Leo. So this has like a added opportunity we have through the rewinding and rethinking that we're doing to actually understand and analyze what it is we're experiencing. And basically, when I look at the relationship between Virgo and Gemini, Virgo is, you know, taking what Gemini has observed and looked at and is thinking about Virgo is all about organizing it. So right now, when it comes to where we're at, like mentally, we have to really put focus towards organizing what it is we're experiencing, the information we're getting from it, and we have to basically consistently ask ourselves whether or not it's helping us towards what we feel aligned and drawn to, because it's like there's things in life, right, that we decide we want to do, right? These things start to become our purpose, but at the very smallest level, it's just something we're interested in or intrigued by, or something that frustrates us, that, we, whatever it is that you feel frustrated about in life and in the world, is also something that you're probably here to expand upon. So whenever you feel this deep hatred or negativity towards something, chances are there's something within that energy that you're actually here to explore. And you as a spirit, the reason you're so frustrated with it is because it's something that has been either following you or you've been following it, and it's been so consistent and so frequent in your life that it's become to a point where you're tired of it. Because one thing about the spirit don't like to be in a shape and form for too long. So even though, and that's kind of the oxymoron of life, and where we have to find equilibrium, because the body loves to be in one place all the time. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Pro Gamer. The body loves to be in one place, one mindset, one feeling all the time. And that's where your physical flesh, third dimensional body, and your 6, 7, 8th I said 6, 7, 8 7th, 8th, 9th spiritual, in a sense, God body conflict. You know what I'm saying? Because the spirit, we know, is no thing, but the physical flesh is what that spirit created to go through a certain transition and travel. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep that in mind. Even there's aspects of ourselves that we might tie to who we are, our personality, but these things still are things we created. These are mind states that we in. That's why a lot of people will say things like, oh, perception is reality. But perception really ain't reality in general. It's just one individual. It's your reality. So you got to keep that in mind too. If you disagree with something, sometimes the first thing you need to do is reassess whether or not you got the right perception of it. And the right perception is going to help you develop the proper attitude. And that, as a combination, is like having a sun and moon, which gives you the power to move intentionally. You know what I'm saying? When you are able to take those two things, adjust your perspective, and that perspective influencing your attitude in a positive way, if you have that combination, you can do damn near almost anything. You know what I'm saying? If you put that's what they mean by putting your mind to it. That's developing a strong mentality to be prepared basically for war, whether it is you got to transform something through that, or you have to endure a circumstance that's not quite what you want to be aligned with, but you got to deal with that. That's like how we manifest things in our life that look like us going through a tough time at the moment, based upon what we was lost in, or what we previously thought, or our previous perception and our previous attitude. A lot of things that go left in our life is because we had the wrong attitude and we had the wrong perspective, either or both. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times it do be both, but every now and then one of them will slip. We might be looking at it the right way, right? For instance, you got an opportunity to work at a job, right? Well, it's like you got the right perspective because you know you need a job in order to get your responsibilities taken care of. But your attitude when you went to that job, you was taking it for granted. You was bullshitting at the job. You didn't take it seriously, and you maybe burnt a lot of bridges and rubbed a lot of people wrong based upon the state of mind you was in and the feelings you was in, everything you was lost in, and that led to you getting fired prematurely before you had a plan, or before you had an idea or urge to actually move. And then that's when you got to kind of play that regret energy, where now you feel like you got to go back, and really all it is you reassessing things and adjusting your perspective, which is a pretty good segue into the next, talking about this Mercury retrograde, because in a sense, that's what a retrograde is. That's what it's all about. It's about reassessing and developing a new perspective based upon comparing and contrasting your present, what you're currently going through, and looking at the past as things that you either attempted before that didn't work, or things that did work that you can now apply into the current moment that can actually be helpful. So this could look like you go into previous ideas, previous plans, especially look at what house you have Mercury in, because that's going to be the house in which the most ideas and inspiration come for you to kind of go back to the drawing board and reassess whether or not that's the way you want to go about it, or do you want to reroute, aka develop a new perspective based upon previous information, the past, that you're using as a reference point, and incorporate new things, or whether or not you're going about it the wrong way and you don't want to repeat a mistake. And see, the thing about retrogrades, like, people will talk shit about them and be scared of them on some spookism stuff, but you got to understand, these be one of the most potent times. I feel as though I make my best music during retrogrades, because it's a lot to work with. It's like it's a way for you to kind of re-innovate your style and go about your, and really all it is rewiring the way you think. Because no matter what you do, right, you might not make music, but you might do art, you might paint, or you might even down to like, it literally can be anything, because it's really just about you rewiring your mind. And that's a catalyst for creativity. When you start to think of different angles of how to approach something, this is what creativity comes from. Because creativity, that's why it's so connected to being spiritual, because spirituality is about your individuality and your ability to be one of a kind. Like, that's kind of the test of life, is how do I express myself to align with my spirit in a way that defines me as one of a kind, so that I can be a source of energy, right? So that whatever I create with that light becomes a representation down here of what others can be either inspired by or drawn to, resonate with. Even if they don't resonate with it, you still occupy a space that is being reacted to. So that's energy. That's as spirits what we all low-key trying to do. And some spirits do that for positive reasons, others do it for negative reasons, but to each their own, you know what I'm saying? But for you specifically, you got to know yourself to know what you're doing these things for. And the better you know yourself, the better you get at creating and not only aligning yourself with your one-of-a-kind energy, but also tapping into the willpower necessary to execute those ideas. And that in and of itself is a practice to show God that you're not taking life for granted. And that's how you get how people say, oh, I'm being blessed. Blessed is like receiving something that is greater than what you could have imagined, right? Because we all have ideas that we're trying to bring to life, and we're constantly manifesting and materializing, right? But when you get hit, you receive manifest something that is better than what you thought it could be, and you get the opportunity to materialize from that. That's what you should consider being blessed. You know what I'm saying? It's not like somebody giving you something, but that's kind of what it is. It's almost, in a sense, God in the framework of all possibilities, giving you an opportunity, a manifestation, an opportunity, right? Circumstance, situation, people, place, thing that is better than you thought it could be. You know, you might have previously had an idea that was an intention that led you down a certain path to do certain things that put you on a path of alignment. And that path of alignment is how we get blessed in ways that we can actually appreciate. Sometimes we get blessed something that's greater than you imagine. We can get blessed in a negative way. People would consider that a curse or something like that. But that's the same concept, where something is given upon you from all possibilities that you're looking at, and it's greater than what you could have orchestrated yourself in this third dimensional body, right? And in a sense, your spirit orchestrated it based upon you being in the right mental space, you being in the right feeling, thought, and you was active, you know, you was proactively doing something in the physical world that a lot that reflected what your mind and your heart was on, you know. But getting back to the Mercury retrograde, so this time period in general is that, you know, and it's a challenge, because see, Mercury back in Leo is still caught up in whether or not it's almost like part of you wants to express everything, and then part of you wants to destroy everything that was previously presented and start from scratch. And you kind of have to meet yourself somewhere in the middle, because starting from scratch might not be efficient. You might not actually have enough time to do all of that rebuilding and stuff like that. But and then also you might be neglecting certain things that don't actually need to be destroyed. You know what I'm saying? There might be some good things out of what you previously did that can still things that you previously did, or ways you previously thought, that still stand the test of time. But the question is for you whether or not, you know, first of all, what is it? How to be discerning and look at what you previously was involved in. Okay, yeah, this could still work. This could still work. Because the thing about it is, you'll mind trick yourself based upon your lack of confidence. And especially if you've been planting bad seeds during Leo season and haven't been expressing your true self, because you're not going to have any. That's how you really build confidence, is by testing these ideas, presenting them to other people. And that's the whole fixated nature of Leo, you know, even where Leo resides as far as chakras, being the solar plexus and things of that nature, where, you know, the solar plexus, your ego, is all about you, again, tapping into your individuality. If you don't test that individuality, aka you don't express yourself, you really don't know where you land in reference or relation to the space around you. You know, that, you know what I'm saying? That's how I go. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Etheric Moss. So if you're expressing yourself you're going to get a very strong sense of where you stand amongst other spirits. And that helps you because it helps you know your relational, how far, how close you are to certain ideas, other aspects of the world and stuff. And that's kind of a deeper concept, but think about it like this: if you walk around individuals who don't express themselves, what happens? They get kind of lost in the mix. So this is how you lose yourself, because the part of why we here, right, on a spiritual level, we've been doing that. But the reason why we're in the third dimensional earth plane, and the reason we're here is because it's about relating and getting a reflection back. You know what I'm saying? Our whole system is built off of relationship, as far as how far close we are to certain things. So our relational distance between things, mentally and physically, right? And as above, so below. So you being able to have a neighbor is a representation of what's going on above, which is you in a space as a spirit, and another spirit being in a different space adjacent to you or across from you, opposing, sextiling, squaring, and all these things play into you experiencing your space, but constantly changing throughout that to expand and contract. So why it's important to express yourself is because that's you shining a light. That's you emitting a light. When you emit a light, you're now, not only do you express your awareness, but you also trigger the awareness of others. So others are aware of you, other spaces, other ideas, other spirits, whatever, right? When you become aware of other spirits, they automatically express to you. You know what I'm saying? They react to your expression, right? So not everyone's going to react to you expressing your light. Not everybody's going to look at your light, but the ones who do, they react to you. That's an energy you feel. That's a reflection. So if you think of even echolocation, when you give out that's how it is able to map out distance and closeness based upon the sound you emit. That sound, which we can look as a metaphor for light. So as a spirit, you emit light. That's what you're doing down here, right? Every time you express yourself, you're emitting a light that's giving like I said, it bounces off others and it gives you a reflection. So now you can see yourself through it's like you see your position based upon what you pushed out. And this is how the ebb and flow of the universe work. And the more you do it, though, the more you have confidence, because you can trust, where you at. See, if you not making no expressions, you start to lose your sense of positioning, because you're not emitting anything to be bounced and reacted to. So like, that's how even people start to turn into, like, become more and more depressed in life. And what it is, it's like depression is really just you not knowing who you are. And so that's why the traits of depression start to look a lot like a debilitated heart, solar plexus. Basically, it looks like a inability to get out of bed, express, act on things, and be receptive and an individual by yourself and aware of, and it's all because you're kind of submerged in a bunch of feelings and things like that. But that it gets kind of deep, you know what I'm saying, when we really think about it. So the sun, right? We're talking about the sun energy. The sun right now, we just experienced a full moon. So already off the bat, we might start to feel we might question our position based upon whether or not we had a satisfying full moon or an unsatisfied full moon. And the satisfaction energy had to come in the opposite energy of where the sun currently was. So again, a lot of people got reality checks based upon them expressing themselves and seeing the reaction of their associations, or the things they're associated with, or the things that they are even internal mentalities that they might have been in, their association to it, whether or not, like, and that'll look like, okay, I expressed something on stage, but now I'm second guessing what I put out. Or I dropped something and I'm questioning whether or not my community and my associations mess with that same thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be energies like that, feeling distant from certain things that we once was close to, or things that we want to be close to that we no longer feel the connection to. And that might scare us a little bit, especially with the moon now in Pisces. So that might scare us a little bit and make us a little delusional, take us on an emotional ride that starts to think we know what everyone around us feel, when we really don't know much, or we don't know as much as we think we know. And the way you know is by expressing yourself anyway. So If this energy influences you to revert into a internal introvert energy, which is very possible due to the fact that the sun is transitioning, is going through the cusp. So we don't have the same courage that we might have had when Leo season was here. We start to get Virgo energy as our sun energy, which is an introverted energy. It's a feminine type vibe because it's earth. So that earth is internal. Earth is about analyzing, even though earth is masculine in the sense of what it's trying to analyze, because it's trying to analyze what's on its mind. But it's a feminine energy on how it does its masculine energy. It is thinking, but it's internal thinking, so it can make sense out of things. So the sun is going to start to want to make sense. That's how you're going to start to act on what you feel. I want to make sense out of this. The moon being in Pisces right now, we might start to be on a journey to basically investigate why we feel so opposite to what we seeing right now. So you can go on hyperdrive mode and start to develop serious amounts of self-doubt energy, just because you're you're hyper analyzing and you're starting to criticize. So that Virgo energy kind of brings that worriedness. Now, worrying about something can be positive if you know how to direct it, because that anxiety you feel is directing you towards something that needs your attention. It's a signal. So you can use that signal to lead you to start to improve yourself, improve different aspects of what you do, improve things like your health, because even your health, part of you being able to sit in your body and start to identify like, oh yeah, my gut doesn't feel clean or as light as it should. This is you being able to be responsible for your organs and things like that. But your nervous system, based upon you feeling pain and different aspects of yourself, it helps you get a sense of what's going on too. It's the same thing. It's like if you're receptive to where you feel things in your nervous system, you can kind of start to sense like, okay, I might need more attention here, and then you can kind of freak your diet to fit what it is that you need internally, you know what I'm saying, through the body. And like that's kind of like getting into like sixth house stuff, but those are the kinds of things that's going to be on our mind, or kind of in the back of our mind. And if you have different energies, right, like you might have your sun in Pisces or something like that, you might not want to address these things at a time like this, where it's early enough to catch something that could potentially be wrong. And that's like the equivalent of you, based upon you changing your diet, or you just being in touch with your body, right, and doing a self checkup, or being responsible enough to take yourself to the doctor to get something checked out. That's you being attentive to an issue in reality. We might not be ready to be attentive to issues in reality. We might still want to play in la la land a little bit, especially if you got energies in Pisces or Gemini. Even Gemini is like too much time at the playground. Sagittarius is like way too far out and not even paying attention at all. So yeah, this damn near out of the body and stuff like that. So you got to keep in mind, especially if you got those types of energies towards your sun, moon, ascendant, or Mercury. If you got those energies in Mercury too, you got to be aware of where you might be not in alignment with the Virgo energy, which the Virgo needs you to get up and go. If you feel it, don't sit around and wait for it to hit you. You need to address it. It's like, you know what I'm saying, especially like if you think in the context of health issues and stuff like that, or even responsibilities. If you got something, a task to get done, what do they tell you? Always get the hardest task you got to do done at the top of your schedule. Get it done first, so that it doesn't build up stress on the other things that you have to do that might not need as much attention. But see, if you don't got a lot of Virgo energy, or your approach to it is more Jupiterian, you might choose to do the easy things first and then get to the hard thing. Which again, in a actuality sense, we all have to come up with our own way of approaching these things, right? So I'm not saying that there's a specific way to go about this, but my point is, the point is getting it done, period. Addressing the things that need to get done, the things of most importance, like the act of prioritizing. I'll say that's really what it is. Knowing how to prioritize is key for Virgo. That's one of the things they're best at. And Virgos that lack that energy, that's the ones that have a hard time in life. That they might be playing out lower octave energy, and they need to get more higher, or they might because it's like a lack of knowing how to prioritize things. Because like, for instance, you can go too hard on something that isn't that serious. So that'll be like prioritizing, but you over prioritizing or over stressed about a schedule when it don't even have to be that deep either. You know what I'm saying? So there's under prioritizing where you're not even thinking about trying to prioritize something in a way that can make sense. And then there's over prioritizing. You're too stressful. You all over the place to the point where you're causing a lot of friction with individuals around you who don't even, who don't, first of all, they don't deserve that pressure. Nobody asked you to help in that aspect. You put too much on your plate. That's your fault. So don't overdo it right now. That's a very Virgo energy. And again, when Mercury goes back into Virgo, that's going to be exalted. So again, that stellium in Virgo, it can cause a lot of people to create stress amongst themselves, raise their own blood pressure based upon their delusion about what they're responsible for. And that's where Virgos get into a delusion. They get delusional about what they actually responsible for. So at work, they'll start to take on the jobs and roles of damn near everybody's department. And that's not even where they really need to be at. They got like chill. You know what I'm saying? Because Virgos look at it, hey, if I don't do it, this shit won't get done right. But sometimes you got to let shit go wrong because that's not your responsibility. So that's how you chill out and balance yourself, using that opposite Pisces energy to balance out the chakras and push you into a higher octave of doing that energy. Shout out to Theramons. He said, iron sharpens iron. Enjoying just scrolling and catching these lives, Soul Fam. Real talk, man. You too, man. I'm glad y'all here. Shout out to Saint Uno in the building. He said, get serious season. That's it. That's exactly what it is. And all, like I said, prioritizing, knowing how to approach the different tasks and things you have in life. You got to start to look at everything like, okay, yeah, this matters. The details matter. This little thing, it might not seem like it mattered 2 months ago, but if this one thing doesn't get done, these other things can't get done. And it's all about order and prioritizing. So don't run away from that. That's the biggest mistake you can make right now. And that's why I say the Mercury in Leo right now, before it goes direct, the retrograde energy, it can start to feel like you can start to play tricks on your own mind where you just want to have fun. You like, bruh, it's the last month of the summer, or it's the last couple weeks of the summer, and damn near summer over for the people who got to go back to school. So the youngins and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, but even in that, it's like, damn, like we just got back. I still, the sun's still out. It's still warm outside. I want to do this. I want to do that. Yeah, you might want to do that, but you got to really be vigilant on what in discerning, like properly discerning on what's a distraction. Like all that want to have fun energy ain't gonna be fun when you ain't got no crops in your garden to eat during the wintertime. Like that fun in the sun, that little bit, oh, I just wanted to have fun, or I just want to splurge on this, I just want to pay for this, because that energy also sextile in Jupiter. So I just want to, whatever is on your scattered ass mind right now, it's like you can go for any idea and exaggerate it with Leo energy to make it colorful. Like, I just want to enjoy this one last time. But that one last time you enjoy something could be the very last, it could be the moment you go broke right before a major bill hit your ass. And it's like, damn, I should have been more responsible. I should have took care of my priorities. It's type shit. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to put yourself in a situation like that, because that very well can happen right now, especially. Now, shout out to the Hanging Empress. He said Mercury retrograde really put a lot on that to-do list. It did. He said organization is much needed, right? And we was given a little break because, see, we didn't realize how much was really on the schedule based upon Leo. The show was going on, so we was doing the show, but then we realized, damn, it's a lot of scenes in this motherfucker. Like, it's a lot of scene transitions. I need a lot of props. This is like, hold on, we gotta pause the production. We gotta actually prepare for what we about to put on the stage, and that's kind of where we supposed to be at with Mercury entirely. It's like a slow down. Wait, hold on, do it right. You only got to do it once. You do it wrong, you're going to have to do that shit long. You're going to have to do it over and over again. And that plays out the same similar energy of Virgo, which is schedule, routine, repetition, but it does it in a negative way where you in a loop of, like, my grandfather used to have an expression. He'd be like, don't get behind the 8 ball. And he was talking about bills and shit, right? And it's the concept of being in a certain space where you're always playing catch up with your bills, or you always playing catch up in life. And that's a type of repetition you don't want to be in, where you work all week, get a check, all that check goes to a bill. It's a cycle of repetition instead of the other end of that, the other side of the spectrum, which would be if you ahead of the 8 ball. It's like You work all week, but you got enough to pay your bills and you got enough to save. And that saving is growing and growing and growing. And that could become an investment to the next new thing you're able to do. So it's like a preparation phase to get you to that next step. And like, it's kind of weird. All earth energies is all about setup. It's a form of consistency, because without consistency, you can't be prepared for something. Without that consistency, you can't prepare yourself and get to the next step in a healthy type way. You know what I'm saying? See, fire energy tries to skip ahead. It's a visionary, which can be beneficial in some aspects, but it's not going to actually get you there. You can have a vision all day, but you won't actually be prepared for that next step or be able to take it if you don't actually do something in the present. Water. You can imagine and feel all you want about where you want to go, but you won't actually get there until you address the present and do something that gets you there. So the even air, you can think about something all day, but if you don't put them thoughts into action, you won't ever get to the next step to get there. So you got to keep that in mind. With earth is the essential element for getting to the next step, point A to point B, and it takes you being present. And you can still use those other energies as reference, but they all supposed to be helping you do something physically in your actual actions. And that works spiritually, or if we want to talk astrology wise, nothing can get done if there's no actual plan to execute, if there's no actual execution in and of itself. And that's what earth energy represents. Shout out to Mutable Guy. You said shout out to you, man. Yeah, man, thank you for being here, man. He said, yeah, that too, right? Yeah, and he said it's a lot of scenes triggering me thinking about editing this damn show. I feel you, man. Oh shit. Real shit, man. I know I feel you on that one. He said, wait, I wonder why it triggered you. Is it because of what's in the show and what we was talking about at the time, and if it's relating, or he said, oh, okay. But and shout out to Mac Dank. You said just over broke. Right, exactly. You over broke. You in negative. You know what I'm saying? Your check already gone before you even get it. And it's like, that don't do good for encouragement. That don't make you feel motivated to keep going. But again, if you dig yourself in a hole, you know, Saturn even teaches that you got to dig yourself out. Ain't nobody else gonna come to save you. And that should be the kind of backup concept that helps you jump into hyperdrive and say, well, let me not allow myself to slack up right now when the time is important. You know what I'm saying? He said, nah, you said it's a lot of scenes when you was talking, and it took me into thinking about the show. But we go, oh yeah, that's that. I didn't know what concept, you know, what part you was talking about or commenting on. Okay, yeah, I feel you. That's what I figured it was, though, the amount of work and stuff, and be like, oh damn, I still gotta edit that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, shout out to Jackie New. She said, yeah, she was trying to figure out too. Yeah. Man, I'm so excited for that shit, man. Y'all in for a treat, man, when we get that show ready for y'all. It's coming very soon. And big shout out to Saint Uno for getting them done, man. And you know, I'm gonna reach out to you today too. But for the most part, when we talk about you know, this energy, like I said before, Saturn is one of those key components too. That's what Saturn reminds you. Nobody's gonna build this dream for you. Saturn and Pisces. Nobody gonna build this dream for you. Nobody gonna magically save you from whatever circumstance you got yourself in. It's only gonna come from you deciding that you don't want to be in that space no more. And until you do that, you won't get to a space where you can actually put the proper actions and emotions behind what's necessary for you to get there. You know, thoughts, feelings, and actions, that holy trinity. So that's the key component right now. And see, Mercury retrograde is, in a lot of ways, it's like the preparation for it is, while it's in Leo, one of the things about Leo, it helps you see the bigger picture. It helps you see the whole thing, as long as you're not self-centered. Low octave Leo, self-centered. High octave Leo, they're like geniuses creatively, because they can see and know what actually is going to get attention, what they should be paying attention to, and they can be proactive on it. You know what I'm saying? But see, another aspect of Leo, if you still in that la la land phase, right, this can happen. Like, this could be a situation or a time period where a lot of people are lying to themselves. You know, I know people make the joke like, Leo lying, oh, you be lying. You know, and shout out to us too, because we made a song called Be Lying. You know what I'm saying? Me, Saint Uno, and Von the Guru. Shout out to him. But the thing about it is, when you're lying to yourself, it's like an over exaggeration, which is like a low key overcompensation of what you don't see going on in your reality. So that's where Leos start lying, where they feel like they got to overcompensate. And so they over exaggerate to blind and try to spray a light that they don't even, they can't even live up to. That's how a lot of Leos get themselves in trouble uh in relationships, because a Leo will present themselves like, yeah, I'm this, and then when it's time to be vulnerable, the Leo like hiding away, like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed, or I don't want to show myself in this, and that get Leo in a lot of trouble in their own relationship. So if you got Leo energy, you'll probably experience that type of energy too, where it's like, damn, I done put something out, now I gotta live up to that expectation, and now you a letdown and shit like that. And you can blame other people for having expectations on you all you want, but that's Leo's number one problem. You get too excited, you express yourself, and now people are really holding you to that regard. And trust me, I know, I'm a Leo moon. I done dealt, man, and my the way it's happened for me was in business. You know what I'm saying? In business or doing something creative where I'd be so inspired, but you know, you be so inspired and it's like, oh yeah, and I got it mixed with Pisces. So y'all know it's like, this sound like the most beautiful dream ever. And then it's like, oh shit, I gotta do that. And so if I'm doing it and I fall short, not only do it created pressure on me that drove me crazy, I had to realize I was like, yo, I mean, I could be capable for some of this shit, but I can't oversell I can't overdo it. You know, I gotta chill out with, even when I'm passionate, and my Mars there too. So I get over passionate and I'll be like, yeah, we could do this and shit like that. And I believe it. I'm a Pisces. I'm like, we can really do this shit. But in reality, it's like, wait a minute, it's gonna take how long? It's gonna do what we gotta actually do to get there. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I be thankful for my girl, man. Shout out to Free, because she helped me get that little earth energy and make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? You're right. I appreciate you. I appreciate y'all. He said, shout out to Blazing Mellow in the building. He said, Virgo season is always the time where shit comes to the surface. Right. Results. We gonna see it. All that shit you was talking, you gotta prove it now. So that's what bad season, Leo season looked like. You was cashing a bunch of checks, or what's the expression? You was giving out a bunch of checks you can't cash or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's one of them old southern sayings and shit like that. You was giving out checks you can't cash or something like that. So you was talking big money, but you ain't had that much in the account. You wasn't being yourself. You wasn't expressing your truth. You was trying to be seen a certain way or doing things for attention, which is not the move ever. You know what I'm saying? Because it always traps you in a loop. You said, it's a time where shit comes to the surface. A lot of people gonna tweak once they see the nasty planet the nasty plants they grow on, right? The fruits of their labor and stuff like that. You like, damn, all that damn shit, all that stuff I was talking about and I was gonna do, people gonna be like, well, where it at? Can we see some results? Can we see, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you got a big contract, you sauced up the people, you was like, yeah, I could do this for y'all, I could do this. Now it's like, hey, we actually we need to see a proof of concept, or we need to see some examples for what you was talking about to see if it's on par with our expectations and what we're gonna get. And that's, again, you got to look at it. Springtime in Aries season, we was basically, that's like if you was to think of imagine you, right, and then another little analogy, right? Imagine you were selling a product. Springtime is like the pitch. So Aries through Gemini, that's the pitch of the idea. In the summertime, Cancer, Leo, and Virgo, you get the job, but now it's time to actually do the work. And then in fall, we got to see the review to get the last minute adjustments, and then the final delivery need to be in winter season. Now imagine this is like you are the product. So you yourself and the life you live and what you manifest and how you do it is the product. It's the product of life, your life. So think about it like that. If you was pitching a good idea in the springtime and you was able to do the work to embody that, then you should have no problem at this moment in time, even though you still gonna feel the pressures of real life, but you way more equipped because what you've been doing, you already actually been doing the work. So that's the equivalent of the company hitting you up and say, hey, we need an example. You actually got examples to show. He's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I've been working on this scene, here you go. Versus a person who been bullshitting that whole time and they call them up like, hey, we need an example by tonight. Oh shit, I ain't even get started. So you either gonna put together a bunch of bullshit, but hey, at least you got something, or you gonna be in some trouble. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got nothing to show for it. Yeah, you say, yeah, lying to yourself, right? Exactly. You know, shout out to you. Said you doing such grace. Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate you. You said Blazer Melon said the Neptune exaltation in Leo really beats y'all ass. Right, exactly. You know it, bro. It'd be crazy, man. You really be thinking like, oh, I could do that. But and it's like you can, like you got the possibility. But if that's not really who you are and what you can do, then boom, you know what I'm saying? It gets you trapped. You know what I'm saying? He said my Mars and Leo too. Right, exactly. Shout out to Scorpio Rising Gang. You know what I'm saying? Even though mine's in the ninth. He said both y'all. Yeah, shout out to Free Riot. Exactly. Shout out to Just the Analyst. He said writing checks. Right. Writing checks your ass can't cash or something like that. Right. So that's what it all comes down to for the most part. We just got to keep these types of things in mind so that, you know, again, in all that Leo light and what we want to be seen as, you know, take it back a notch and just understand like, okay, well, if this is what I want to produce as a product, if this is where I want my life to go, then I have to take the initiative to get these things in place now. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Makovian here. You got to look at yourself like this is, I got to take and it's a sense of taking power and control, because even Pluto is on that 0 degrees of Aquarius, but you can kind of say it's playing out a little bit of that Capricorn energy just by the nature of it going in that direction. So this is like giving you hints also on a subconscious level about, again, where transformation needs to take you. And that when it gets back into Virgo, Mercury, it's also going to trine Uranus. So this is also you thinking more in terms of your individuality, you feel me? And putting more connections towards, okay, yeah, it may not make sense now, but if I create a schedule around it and I focus on it and I know it's in alignment with my values, I can actually get it done and I can see it through. He said, if you on a less desirable side, what's a wise approach of making amends? So the less desirable side of Mercury retrograde currently. So the benefit, right, or the opportunity is still in retrograde in Leo right now. So you got time before it goes direct and then back in the direction of Virgo. So my suggestion would be understand that it's basically look at yourself, right, and pinpoint the times in which you either express things that wasn't actually your true self. Actually really look at these things, like, because Leo is all about what we put on stage. So there was ways you thought you had to act in order to get a certain result, but at the end of the day, if that's not who you truly are, well, then you have a problem. And that problem is looking at, okay, there's what I want to be seen as versus what's back and supporting that, the truth of it. So if you can look at yourself and see the truth of it, you can start to, that's part of making amends. Is you mentally saying, oh, okay, let me rewire, because it's either one or the other. Either I really do believe I want to be this, so I need to change what I do and act in those ways that align with that. But at the end of the day, it's like you are who you are. So you got to be honest enough with yourself to say, okay, well, let me let go of this vision or this idea of what I think I have to express or how I think I need to present myself, and let me completely abandon that for the sake of who I truly am. And if I can trust in that, whatever I express is going to start to make more sense. Again, you might lose friends. You might have to, again, this is, if you've been planting bad seeds and you on a less desirable end, you gonna have to ruffle a little feathers. It's gonna look like you having to be fixated on the new way you see and feel. And that new way you see and feel, as long as it's the true you, it's gonna be able to withstand any kind of force that's coming against it. And as you stand strong into that, that's you being in that fixated nature. That's you basically passing the lesson of what the retrograde is trying to show you, because it's showing you past ways you was expressing yourself and that wasn't you, and where that led to, or past ways you was being true to you and how it low-key did work out, or how it was complicated, but you know in your heart you just had to stand firm in that a little bit longer. Again, and you standing firm is developing that confidence necessary that help that's the whole point of us going through a Leo transit, developing confidence in who we really are. Now with that energy combination, when it goes direct in Virgo and it slides back in, you're gonna have a better space to start to build on. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to a better space of knowing, okay, if this is who I am, these are the routines and patterns that's gonna make this work, basically make my character work. And making your character work, it goes deeper than just your actual work routine. This is stuff that goes, it's really about how you take care of your mind, because in our lives, we have to know how to organize our own thoughts and feelings in order to, you know, pursue what we want to do, behave in a way that's favorable to ourselves, you know, not so much trying to be favorable to others, but this is what prevents us from having our boundaries out of whack. Us having a proper sense of self helps us know how to organize our mind to where we don't overextend ourselves, and we can stay concentrated on doing the things and making the time for the things we want to do. So that's a healthy Virgo energy. A healthy life is a balance between, you know, your responsibilities, and those are the things that keep you afloat. And then it's responsibilities, but also a balance between the things that help us relieve stress and the things that we find enjoyment in. The things that give us time and space for the other things that matter, like the people, places, and things we relate to. You know what I'm saying? So even Virgo itself, it sits between Leo and it sits between Libra. So Libra being the relationships and making time for that, and then Leo being expressions and who we are, what brings us joy. So it's kind of, it's like a healthy Virgo allows relationships to flourish, because now we don't feel like we're codependent or that we have to save anybody. And then it helps our expression, our sense of self. We don't have to overdo it on what we enjoy to the point it throws our responsibilities out of whack. So if you're on the less desirable end, it really is a matter of doing some kind of ritual, or, and when I say ritual, I mean just you practicing the idea in the mental space of looking at yourself for who you are and being more comfortable sticking to those expressions. And then from there, start to build better ways of thinking about it and look at how you can improve upon that, you know, improve upon being a better you, wherever that looks like. And it can look like things in the physical world, like getting your health in check, or, you know, redoing how you approach certain just responsibilities in life. So, you know, that's how it's really going to go. Matter of fact, I do gotta go. I hate to end it so abruptly and stuff like that, but we gonna go in further. You know what I'm saying? The moon gonna be in Aries real soon, so probably not tonight. I'm gonna be traveling and shit. So, but I'm still gonna go live. I'm gonna make some time to go live. So probably tomorrow on my way to the airport or before it, I'll either make a video or go live, and you know what I'm saying. We gonna keep this shit going. But I appreciate all y'all. You know what I'm saying? He said I'm starting with self-forgiveness and sacrificing bad habits, and that's the key right now. That's all like Virgo is preparing us for the fall. So all that energy you said, that's exactly where you need to start, and stay right there. You know what I'm saying? Stay there until you solid on that, and build your character from the ground up, from that space of, you know, and it's gonna feel like you know what I'm saying, you on the ground and you picking up scraps. But sometimes that be the best thing for the spirit, being able to start from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing like taking nothing to something. It ain't nothing like making something out of nothing. You feel me? So that's literally what what the spirit specializes in, and that's what it wants to do. So whatever experiences led you to be in that space, that's exactly what it was. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, good luck on that journey. He said, yup, first steps to creating a ritual of better habits and behaviors. Exactly. You got to work it at the core. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Saying, he said, True You is a fire name for esoteric college. Hey, each one teach one. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All right. He said, Empress, he said, thank you for, that was resonating. Good, good, good. Appreciate y'all. Blaze and Mellow. All right, y'all. I got to dip. Much love. I'll catch you on the next.